Hey folks, I'm Larry Nix, Scottish Home Improvements Account Manager. Let's go to the internet and answer some of these wild questions that we actually see on a daily basis. So let's get this thing started. At Justin Taylor 23, oh, there's an underscore in there. I thought you could just go over existing siding. Why tear it all off? That's a very valid question, Justin, and I've gotten that question today already, this morning with the homeowner that I met with. It is doable. Like some siding is, I guess, compliant to be gone over with. You know, typically if you're going to see a flush panel that's in pretty good condition, that's not seeing a bunch of cupping and bowing and crooked, you know, sometimes that is the sheathing for the home. If it's a panel, like a vertical siding, or if it's a board and batten type siding where you can pull the batten strips off, remove all the trim, corner and window door trim, you know, then that is something to mount to. And, you know, why not save a little bit of extra money and you can take your family on vacation instead of buying a bunch of new OSB for a home. But if it's lap siding, or if it's just wavy and wobbly, even brand new siding is going to show that same wave and wobble, and you just don't have a nice flush surface to mount to. So in that situation, I would want to remove all of the lap siding, the pre-existing lap siding or cedar shake that's on a home. So that is a great question, and it does come up almost on a daily basis. All right, let's see. Okay, so at Katie in Colorado, yeah, we were quoted way less than this. Now I'm confused. That could go either way. We were quoted way higher than you. Now I'm confused. In my experience, I'm not necessarily battling other contractors for jobs. I'm oftentimes just battling confusion. He said one thing, this other guy said another, this lady said another. Who do you know is right? I mean, who do you know to trust? And unfortunately, at least in the year 2026, ChatGPT doesn't know your house. Even if you were to provide photos of it, it's hard to get, I guess, consistent, transparent information from multiple different sources. So it's a matter of ask the contractor to be more transparent and explain why something is costing this, or why maybe they left this line item off the quote. I mean, in my experience, I love it when homeowners call me back to question my quote or another contractor's proposal. It just, to me, that clears up disinformation, misinformation, and kind of puts us all on the same level playing field, which you would think we would be already, but you know, different companies have different plans for growth, and that can affect their markup and their overall margin. And that's probably what you're battling. You just need a good siding job. That's what's most important. All right. Oh, this one's good. At Denver Life, Amy _24. Quite a name. What about snow sitting against the wall of the house all winter long? That's valid. I would be concerned about that too. You know, especially if we're talking a fiber cement product, or even a wood composite product. You know, every company's touting their materials as being kind of weatherproof, bullet resistant. Definitely not going to say bulletproof, but you know, how does it react to sitting in moisture over a prolonged period? And there are lots of ways to get around this, Amy. Denver Life, Amy. What matters most to me is kind of the envelope of the house and not necessarily the exterior cladding. I agree that the exterior cladding, I don't want to have to come back out and replace it. So oftentimes what we'll do is we can back paint siding to fully kind of encapsulate it in paint, so it's protected even if snow was to somehow build up and moisture could wick up behind it. Obviously there's lots of flashing that's going to go up behind the exterior cladding, and oftentimes we can extend that flashing up as need be, whether it be, you know, 24 or 36 inches, if we know that it's going to be kind of a compromised area on a home, a corner where snow is going to sit. But typically, I mean, we've been installing James Hardie and LP siding for 20 plus years in Colorado. We haven't really seen too many issues with that. But clearly water management is kind of what's most important here. So valid question, but we'll walk you through that once we're doing our pre-con walkthrough. Let's see, at just scrolling 22 says wood, metal, or fiber cement siding. How do I know which one to pick? I don't know the answer to that necessarily. You're going to see a different budget for all different materials. The wood composite and the fiber cement, they should be comparable, in a proposal or what an overall estimate would look like. There are pros and cons to all of these materials. I love the look of like a standing seam metal siding on the exterior cladding, like a wall application. The only issue with that is oftentimes you can see some oil canning with the material where it's kind of rippled or wavy looking. Whereas on that same wall, a fiber cement or a wood composite wouldn't show that same kind of rippling. Fire danger obviously plays a role in where the home is located, whether it's in the mountains or the foothills. I would take that into consideration. Clearly, metal's not going to burn, and fiber cement's not going to burn or contribute to a fire, whereas wood composite might. So I think it matters kind of where the application is and what the budget calls for ultimately, and kind of what the look of the home that you're looking for. I mean, adding metal to a home can make it look a little more, I don't want to say industrial, but certainly more contemporary, especially a standing seam metal siding. But I say do both. I say, why not do two different elements and change up the exterior of the home with a little bit of metal here and maybe some fiber cement over here. But that's what a design center consult's beneficial for. At Mark and Jess at home ask, $30,000 for my siding project. That feels really high. What am I missing? Well, I don't know. I haven't seen your home, but honestly, $30K for siding, that's kind of that's an average. That's kind of the low average for a siding remodel in at least the Denver Front Range or just in Colorado in general. Obviously, square footage matters and plays a role into that, but I think, I wish every prospect or every client, homeowner that I meet with could kind of ride a day in the life of what it looks like to remodel a home, because ultimately we're tearing your home apart, putting it back together. So I certainly wouldn't go with the cheapest guy, but you don't want to get taken advantage of, and figuring out that fine line of what I just said, it's going to be very difficult. And I think you should reach out to somebody that you trust. You can kind of get that feeling from them from the get-go, in my opinion, if you're good at sussing people out. But also, if they've got a project, why wouldn't it hurt to swing by and see what that $30K involves? It's not a roof. This isn't roofing that we're talking about. It's not, just do a roof in a day and try to knock out 5 a week sort of thing. This is very meticulous and very intricate cutting, and it's quite an investment because it can certainly up the value of your home. So if you were to sell further down the road, it's going to increase the curb appeal and the overall value of the home. Don't hold me to that, but it should. But it's also just, it's a very intricate process of properly sealing up the envelope of your home. So $30K kind of seems like the average ballpark in my opinion, but it depends on what siding you're asking for. So best of luck to them, but they should have called us, in my opinion. That's it. We're going to wrap up with that last question. My name is Larry Nix with Scottish Home Improvements. I look forward to meeting with you, and reach out to us if you have any other questions. Have a great day.